Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full On Football Podcast. As always, I'm joined by Ben. Quick overview of the weekend's results. First game of the weekend, Leicester-Chelsea. Domination from Chelsea.
Mate, Kante's goal.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, what a player. Technically, doesn't get the credit he deserves. He always seems to score good goals. He doesn't score bad goals.
Good pass for the ball as well. You don't give the ball away much.
So good. Obviously, we know how good Kante is. Chelsea, well-oiled machine. Didn't give Leicester a sniff. In complete control from start to finish. Goals all over the pitch. No Lukaku, no Werner for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Haven't conceded.
Do you know what? You took the words out of my mouth there. Well-oiled machine. That was the exact phrase I was going to use. But on Leicester, just a quick one on Leicester. We'll talk about Chelsea. But Jamie Vardy, and he's second top scorer in the league still.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Unbelievable. Still a top player, isn't he?
Still a top player. Leicester in a bit of turmoil, it seems. Turmoil's maybe a bit harsh, but struggling. No clean sheet for a long time. I know they've decimated with injuries, but it proves that, the levels this season between the big boys and everyone else, really, because Chelsea were in complete and utter control. Reece James, absolute joke. Going to be well in with a shout to be England's right back. The back three, Rudiger, as much as I dislike him, he always should be sent off, but he doesn't seem to. I can't stand him.
Quite an ugly player to watch, isn't he?
Oh, he's so violent. And I've never seen a player get away with such violence on a football pitch. Thiago Silva, better than I ever gave him credit for. Can't knock it.
Oh, he's superb.
Jorginho, superb.
I said to you about 2 weeks ago, didn't I, about there is a theory behind this. The fullbacks at Chelsea getting a lot of goals, getting a lot of assists. There's something tactical there, I'm telling you. They're always in space. I feel like the front three play so... Because I've said before, almost like the only weakness that I see in the Chelsea side, I would point out to be like the wide players of the front three. There's no like real natural... Mm-hmm. You'd play like Ziyech, but he's not really ever playing. Hudson-Odoi not getting picked, getting used at wing back. You're playing like Mount or Werner, who aren't natural.
Or
Havertz. You're playing players square pegs in round holes almost. But those front three, the two wide ones, play so centrally that like Mount's almost playing in the pocket and attacking midfield role, which is natural to him, not unnatural. And then like Chilwell's like almost playing as like a front five. I know people talk about it being a defensive formation, but that's quite naive. It can be set up from a defensive perspective to keep clean sheets, of course it can. But when you're a good side, it can be a really attacking formation. And that's what I think it is for Chelsea.
Yeah. And at the weekend, Ben Chilwell playing like a winger, but half the time like a number 9. The positions that Reece James and Chilwell pick up are incredible.
Do you know what I'm trying to say though?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting goals and getting goal contributions.
Ridiculous.
And then Reece James as well, I just think like... I've said this for a while now, but as an all-round footballer, he's good defensively as well, and he's good on the ball, he's good technically. And I said to you a long time ago about the hybrid of, didn't I? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was saying he's like the stylistical hybrid of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kyle Walker. And what I mean by that, if you took Kyle Walker from a physicality perspective, and you took Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's probably somewhere in between. And then if you looked at it from a technical standpoint, he's probably somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. I do think there's something in that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And for England, what a headache Southgate's got. On Chelsea, they've played this season. I thought they were second best against Man City. Man City made them average, I said the other week. Out of the three, head-to-head, I think Chelsea, if they had a round robin between the three of them, Chelsea finished bottom. But against the rest, I can't see Chelsea dropping hardly any points. They don't concede. And it doesn't matter that they weren't very good against Man City because... Yeah, they don't play Man City every week, so it doesn't matter. Other title rivals, Liverpool, your side, pick of the games this weekend on paper, so it seemed. Liverpool, Arsenal. Thought it was going to be a bit of a sticky one for Liverpool. I expected them to win, but, just Arsenal were looking a bit more dogged, a bit more...
Yeah, it was all about the first goal, really. All about the first goal. Up to the first goal, Arsenal were trying to pass the ball. They did try and pass the ball around the back for the whole game, but they were looking okay at it. But Liverpool's press suffocated Arsenal. And even Thiago who's not quite done it in a Liverpool shirt yet, and certainly not fitted into the way Liverpool's midfield work in high pressing and things like that.
Best game in a Liverpool shirt?
Yeah, he was fantastic, and he won the ball back a lot, and he did help suffocate them, and he was good on the ball, because like last week he was quite poor when he came on, and he was giving the ball away a lot. And,
Against West Ham?
Yeah,
he
really
was.
poor
Yeah,
when
he was.
Came on, and he looked really good against Arsenal, so that's someone that I will highlight for praise. Trent Alexander-Arnold, we say it every week, fantastic. And like you said, you've knocked Gareth Southgate for picking 3 right-backs. Looks like he was right all along. Let's get 11 right-backs in the side. Trippier's a good player as well.
Yeah.
So, why not?
Just 11 right-backs. Thing is, Reece James could play centre midfield, and I think he'd do a good job.
So could Trent.
Trent could play right wing. Trent could play number 10.
Yeah.
He's right. There, you could argue
Trippier could play all
pound for
midfield.
pound, Reece James and Trent are our two of our best players in their position.
And
they
they're
are
on the
two,
bench.
and they're on the bench. They don't get a shoe in.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. But no, Mo Salah again. Mo Salah persisted. Did you see the pass he did for Shot?
Yeah.
Took the shot and Ramsdale made the save. Unlucky, but what a pass that was from Salah. Salah poacher's goal again, and Jota's goal. Wow, good goal from Diogo Jota. Won it. Done the goalkeeper all ends up there. But Liverpool looked back to their best, I thought. And
Salah will get top goal scorer this season. Even if Liverpool finish third, Salah will finish with 27, 28 goals. I have no doubt. He is just on another planet.
Better as well.
And he is. He this season, he has just been by far and away the best player in the league. And yeah, he just scores every week. Even when he doesn't play well, he just scores.
Good looking too. He's got the lot.
Yeah, not bad. Not in bad shape, is he? Bless him. Former Liverpool player. He was quite good for Liverpool. Steven Gerrard. He's just some lad who never won a league title. Played for Liverpool for about 15 years.
Get that one in. Right in the ribs.
Yeah. He started his Premier League managerial reign at the weekend for Aston Villa. We spoke about it. We didn't think it was a bit of a risk.
It was a bit of a risk, but you know what? I want to put something on record right now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got one of the biggest jobs, one of the top 3 jobs in world football, Man United, on the back of what he'd done in Norway. I actually think at the same stage, if you didn't know the names of the players, if you had CV A and CV B, and you had a manager that had managed Mulder and a manager that had done what Steven Gerrard had done at Rangers, the one that had done what he's done at Rangers had more credibility than what Solskjaer had for the Man United job. How do you respond to that? Do you think that's fair?
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
Difference is, Ollie was never going to be the manager. He just come in, won 15 in a row, galvanised the squad. Everyone wanted him to have the job. All 4 corners of Old Trafford, but boom. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Steven Gerrard's CV, you can't really... you'd probably give it, say, 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because all he could do, the trouble with the Rangers job, as much as he's done a great job and he's overturned the tide.
That's all you can do, isn't it? That is as far as you can take it.
The only exception would be he would simply have to win the Europa League,
which is near on impossible.
Exactly.
So it is tough, but with the exposure he's had, he's pretty much done as much as he can. And I know people were saying that he's lucky to get. I heard people saying he only got the Villa job because he was a great Premier League player. Now I think that could be true in Frank Lampard's case. I'll put that on record. Done a good job at Derby. Had a crack at the Premier League. If he was to get a Premier League job now, that might be the case because he was a good player. Forget Steven Gerrard. If you had the manager of Rangers that just won a league title to come into a Premier League job, that's happened in the past with other people. So why not?
Yeah. Hey, I'm sceptical about it. I don't think hand on heart, I think it's more of a risk than I think the risks outweigh the potential benefits personally, because I think for Steven Gerrard, what can he do? Finish 12th or finish 8th? I don't think there's any difference. So really what he's got to do is get into Europe. Very, very tough. Very tough, especially over like a year or two. I think you probably need 3 or 4 years to build a project, along with getting signings right. Tracks are really tough to do. So I do think it's very difficult for him. Having said that, great start, great win, clean sheet, 2-0. He needed obviously to get off to a good start. I think there's a good team in there. I think they have got good players. They have got good players in there. Players like John McGinn, I think, are really good.
2 England internationals getting the goals as well, eh?
Yeah,
Tyrone Minks.
Yeah, Minks with a goal. So, hey, good start. I like the way he conducts himself in interviews, Gerrard. He doesn't get carried away to the point where he's actually a miserable git. But I do like the way he conducts himself. I think he will be a success. Whether that's at Villa remains to be seen. The guy who replaced Dean Smith, great start in Norwich, 2 wins in a row for Norwich, informed side in the Premier League, 2 out of 2, 6 points. I think they're off the bottom of the table. I haven't actually looked at the table since the weekend. It was against Southampton, and then the week before against Brentford. It doesn't mean a lot. I still think they are odds on to go down, but at this stage of the season, they haven't left themselves too much to do, so why not?
Carl, you've killed it stone dead there. Todd Cantwell texted me earlier and he was really chuffed, but he won't be too happy listening to that.
Well, that was his first start this season, I think.
Yeah.
And Billy Gilmore back in. I think as much as they're not good, there are some good players in there.
There are 100%, but there's got to be a reason.
You'd hope so. But he was one of their best players last season. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. It is tough. It is tough. I don't know.
But you're right. There must be a reason.
There must be a reason.
I think it's what I'm led to believe is fitness is an issue. Not being able to stay fit for more than 2 weeks. Not being able to play 2 games in a row. So Farke was just like, no.
How do you think Dean Smith would get on there? Because I like Dean Smith. I like the way he goes about things, and he's a football man, and I admire that.
Student of the game.
Student of the game.
Yeah.
He was saying, I'm sure you've seen the quote, something like in 20 years or whatever, he's only had like 60 days out of football, and I love that. A football obsessive. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's going to do really well.
I think he will. I think he will do well at Norwich in the end. I think that he obviously struggled the last to be honest, the last year at Aston Villa, they haven't quite been the same. They had a really good start last season, obviously tonked Liverpool 8-2, and then after that they stumbled towards the end of the season. I do wonder, obviously he had a much better squad at Aston Villa, whether he'd be able to get the same tune or a better tune out of Norwich to keep them up. Which what he'll have to do is outperform what he's done at Villa for the last year, which will be tough.
It's quite an impossible task, because I feel like if he does go down, he could have a real good crack and finish 18th and go down on the last game of the season. And to do that, to be in with a dogfight's chance, really, he's done an exceptional job to get that far. Mm-hmm. But they're not going to see it like that.
No, exactly, and that's why it's tough. Having said that, it gives having Dean Smith, who is a really good manager in my opinion, gives them the best chance to come back up if they are to get relegated at the end of the season, which they might. A team that I thought was, and this sounds really bad, I thought they were shoo-in to go down this season, Crystal Palace. If you'd have asked me, start of the season, who were the 3, they'd have been amongst my 3. Yeah, they would have.
Is that just Roy Hodgson leaving?
Roy Hodgson leaving, I always look at... there's been a couple of examples, not going to go into them. Arsenal being the obvious one of people not appreciating the job that someone's done. And I'm not saying Crystal Palace fans didn't. I think other people thought that he'd perhaps reached the end of the road, which maybe he did, but I thought there was a reason for that. I looked at that team, and it wasn't, on paper, it wasn't great, or it wasn't, I don't think they had the tools necessarily to go punch for punch with other teams. They've made some great signings over the summer. Conor Gallagher's obviously been a revelation.
England squad.
Yeah, Benteke is somehow, he scored like 2 in 80 games, and now he's scored probably 6 or 7, I think, this season. So they've been super. Patrick Vieira's been amazing. The football they play, the shape, the clear coaching, that's the difference. You can see clear
he's actually
coaching.
Took him on a bit. I know it's early days, it's only sort of like 12 games, dozen games in, but he actually seems to have taken him on a little bit.
And not only that, there's been 3 games where they've conceded like a 95th minute equaliser. Against Arsenal, they should have beat Arsenal at the Emirates. They should have beat Brighton. And there was another game, they conceded literally 3 last minute equalisers or winners back to back. It was like a joke. They could have 5 or 6 points more than they do now. So what a job they've done. Really exciting to watch. Obviously 3-0 with Burnley at the weekend. Probably should have won the game. A couple of bad set piece goals, but yeah, exciting times for Palace. Exciting times for Palace. Final point I want to make about this weekend, and we haven't had time to cover every game, we're a bit strapped for time, but Manchester City picked a very inexperienced side. The young Palmer up front, making his first league start, was great to see. Man City's academies, he's come on a lot the last few years. It's clear to see, obviously, the setup they've got there is unbelievable, so it's no surprise, really. Good to see that, a much changed side, but I want to make a point. João Cancelo, closest thing we've seen to Philip Lahm, a player that is equally, your admission, equally as good at right back, at left back, equally as good. Yeah. Could play centre midfield and probably run a game. Good off either foot, ridiculous technique, ridiculous temperament. What a footballer! I'm not saying a left back or right back. What a footballer he is!
What a compliment that is, eh? What a compliment that is.
What that you think he's really good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely no. Look, Philip Lahm, what a comparison and what a compliment. That's what I'm getting at, because I think for me, in my lifetime, picking 11 of the best players I've seen in my lifetime, he'd be the first choice fullback. So
Really?
that's how good Philip Lahm is. And in terms of your comparison, you're absolutely right. It's one that's staring me in the face that I'd not thought of until you've just said. João Cancelo is a right back.
Yes.
And he's playing at left back. And he's just as good there. So,
and he's probably the best.
Right.
He's probably the outstanding left back in this season, right? Right now.
Exactly. And his passing ability is a joke. That assist on the weekend with the outside of the boot is ridiculous. And it's not even like unseen with him. He does it all the time. Mm-hmm. His passing is as good as anyone's. Really, you're looking at like rivaling Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of his passing. And I think you're absolutely right. I think he could play in midfield. I think the Philip Lahm shout, actually, as much as it's an outrageous one, probably has a lot of truth to it. So fair play to him.
Quick one about João Cancelo. Started his career at Valencia.
That's right, under Gary Neville.
Gary Neville, yeah. Gary Neville alleged, apparently, when I seen a thing the other day, and he said he knew he was a serious player, and he tried to hint that sign João Cancelo. Obviously, he's ended up at Man City for 50-odd million, and the rest is history. But what a player. Azpilicueta, probably another one similar, I think, but he played a lot left back under Mourinho. The year they won the league, Azpilicueta.
He's played left back, right back, centre back, and he's played back.
He's a great defender, elite. Probably hasn't
the difference there is he's a defender.
Yes,
he's an all-round
that's
defender,
the difference.
Not an all-round. João Cancelo's a technical footballer. We talk about, I've heard it again, Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best footballer that plays right back, but he's not necessarily the best right back, and that's the difference.
That is the difference, and that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for listening. Whistle Stop Tour over the weekend's actions. Speak to you soon.